Hello and welcome to another episode of Morilibus Plays Minecraft. Have I ever said that? I don't think so. Welcome! Alright, we are back. Still in Snapshot. I haven't actually been in here at all since the last episode. I have seen some more videos on stuff though. And I know a little bit more. So one thing I want to see... Okay, so I was... what's that? Trap chest? Yeah, doesn't matter. So I was having issues when I was placing this hopper over here, right? I'd do that, and I was saying it's connected to that block. And the reason that's doing that is it connects to whatever face you point at when you place it. So if I'm pointing at this block, the wall, it's going to connect to the wall. If I put a chest on the ground and I point towards the chest, it will point down towards the chest. So it kind of, it's directional placement, which I was not aware of, but that is cool. That is actually, yeah, that works out really well. It will go wherever you intend it to go, and you don't have to worry about any of the blocks that happen to be around it. So yeah, I wanted to correct myself on that, because I did learn why that was happening. Other than that, I don't know what I was talking about. So last episode I said we could maybe go around and check out some of the redstone stuff and see how broken it is. We know that the 3x3 door is broken, which sucks. And I was kind of looking a bit. We know this thing does work though, so that's cool. Although it's kind of obsolete, so we may look at upgrading it to the actual light detector block. The benefit of that light detector block is we can fine-tune it to when it will turn on. This thing is, I mean, pretty sensitive, pretty quick, but often it doesn't turn on until it's already dark. So there is a potential for mobs to spawn before these lights turn on. So that is something we can look at. We also have, we've had those for a while, haven't we? Not just this snapshot. Why hasn't anyone told me to change these? I blame you, all of you, every single one. Okay, so what if we do that? Ooh, I like that. I like that. These things I'm doing are good. Aha! Yes. Okay, anyway, that's not really all that impressive. Look at this! Half slabs, guys! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, I wanted to test this thing, see if it still works. The inline bud detector. It should, because this is the same thing as the daylight sensor. One simple test will be... Let's just... Ooh, I have some right there. I think this thing just continually runs and dumps the sugarcane right there. I don't actually have an off switch for it. But anyway, if I get rid of that one and we put one right there, yeah, this thing still works. So that means my sugarcane farm in the basement still works too. Not that I have that activated either. All this should still work. It's pretty basic, but I guess we could try after. Maybe when I have an empty inventory. Let's see, I don't have all that much, I don't think. I mean, we could go to the Wither farm, or not the Wither, the Blaze farm maybe, and check out that stuff. Because that has a bunch of timing issues, or timing stuff, and, what do you call them? T-flip-flop, like one pulse stuff. So like this thing probably doesn't work either. Yeah. No, totally broken. I was looking at that and C&B Minecraft's download world, trying to tweak it, and I can get it almost working, and then I just kind of gave up. But one of the big things I did notice, if we go down and get to the wiring, which is over here, right? Just, why do I have all that glass? So yeah, this thing's busted too, the Bud Light thing. I'll have to see about that. I got that off Q.O.P Hamster, and I think it was Nice Guy Alex or something. What's his name? Nice Guy Mark, who Q.O.P Hamster kind of got the design, original design, and modified, I think, or something like that. So I have to see why this doesn't work anymore. I haven't actually looked at that at all. But one of the big things I have noticed is this T-flip-flop doesn't work properly anymore. So this generates, this like first part here is what generates the one-tick pulse. And it's supposed to send a one-tick pulse to this guy, which will make the wool block stay up top. Now, I don't think that actually happens at all anymore. So if we flip that, yeah, you see it just goes up and goes down. Now, in Creative World, I was noticing, oh, great, yep. It seems to be directional, though. Like, east and west. If this torch is on the east or west side, it does not work. However, if I were to move, oops, I'm trying to do this like I'm in creative mode still. Middle clicking. So if I put the torch there instead, and we let's pick up this piston, and we'll just use a different block to kind of show this. But anyway, there we go. So that's pretty much the same thing, except it's just kind of rotated over here instead of rotated over there, right? I think. So it used to be here, with torch here. Instead we're putting a torch here, and the piston's right there. And I believe it does work there. So if it does work, that piston should leave the block behind. Of course, I'm eating my words. Yep. Okay, that didn't work. Let me just double check these settings. That one might be wrong. Let me try. Can I hit that repeater, please? Oh, there. Let's try that instead. Of course, now I should probably... I swear it wasn't working. I swear it. Okay, so you can see it's down. And now it's up. Okay. Let's put it back and just make sure I'm not an idiot. Well, pretty sure I am. But, in respect to this, I swear I saw it happening, directional wise. Okay, I did it right there, but that was just for me placing a torch. That it generated that one tick pulse. Let's see if we can get the one tick pulse there. Oh, we do. Awesome. So that's one problem solved. And I don't know if that was always supposed to be on 4 ticks, or if that's something I changed, or if that's something that needs to be changed now due to the piston timing stuff. But anyway, let's see. What do we have? Let's see if it actually looks like it's working. We got a piston there, we got a block there, and I have no idea if there's a block above that one. But it could be working. If it's as simple as that, that is hilarious. Especially since I was just in my creative world trying to fix it. And all I did here was change one repeater time. Let's get rid of that. Well, look at that. Wow. I think the one I was playing around with in my creative world, I'd already like messed around a bunch with it. So I was working off a already tweaked version that was probably tweaked to a degree that it didn't work. And then I was trying to make it work again. But anyway, that's pretty cool. That works. The only thing that doesn't work is the bud, I guess, this thing. Which I will have to maybe play around with in Cube Hamster's download of that to see how that could be fixed. Well, that's really easy. Huh. I should re-download CMB's 3x3 door and look at the world again. Because I messed around with it so much that I don't know what the actual default thing is anymore. This one's a bit modified by me just to extend wiring so it's not as compact as it could be. So, we could keep using it, but we don't have a method of opening it on the other side. Since this was our method of opening it, was walking over this. We could try to hide a button somewhere. Behind like a stair or something. Where would a curved stair be that we could hide a button? I almost need like an inside curve to do it, and we don't really have any inside curves here. So we'll have to think of something else, or yeah, hope that we can get this bud guy working again. But anyway, that's pretty cool. And this guy I haven't looked at all either, but he might be simple enough as well. So he's got... Oh, ears are ringing. Let's see, let's just use wood, I guess. So last time I did this, I think this thing got like a 1 tick pulse and just left the glass block above. It did. Okay, what... I don't remember how this thing's wired up, so maybe I'll expose it a bit and we'll see what's going on. Okay, I just ripped up some of the blocks here. Now this part's fairly straightforward. Like, all it does is when a block is placed... Oh, I was like, what? I'm like, well, how does it do that? No, okay, when a block is placed, power is sent in that block, and it powers this redstone dust that I just broke. Holy inventory. And then that just goes down here and powers the piston. Now there's something, I was watching a bunch of Seth Bling's videos, which are awesome if you haven't watched his stuff on the new Snapshot. He's got some pretty cool stuff there. He's got some simple like T flip-flop designs and stuff like that. And he's got some broken up into different sections and stuff, so it's pretty cool. He's got some stuff with minecarts and auto items, separate sorters and stuff like that. Pretty cool ideas already. So what we need to do, I think, one of the things I think I remember from Seth Bling's video is they changed kind of how pistons push blocks, how they power gets lost, and I don't know how to say it, generate, like usually when I do that, that redstone signal basically turned off instantly, and I think it never used to. I think it took 2.5 ticks or something like that. I can't remember what it was, what he said, but 2.5 game ticks or 2.5 redstone ticks, or I don't know. But anyway, that time was what would keep this thing activated for a certain amount of time, and now it's pretty much like instant, which is why I think it's getting such a short pulse that it's just leaving the glass behind. I don't know for sure. Again, I'm no redstone guru or anything. I consider myself just kind of competent with this stuff. So what I want to do, I think, which shouldn't be too hard depending how much room we got, I should be able to just go around here and add in a repeater. So let me go do that. I need to empty my inventory and get some more stuff. Oh, I don't know if you've seen the new Snapshot. Jez's been tweeted new block coming. I don't know how we're going to make it, or if it's with even, I'm assuming it's with the quartz like ore, or this, not the actual like nether brick stuff. But yeah, it looks like white marble. Oh, it's going to be amazing. I mean, it's going to be alright, you know, if you're into that sort of thing. Anyway, I don't even know where to put this quartz. Did I put anywhere? I mean, we could put it with the redstone, I suppose. And we could start compacting our redstone into blocks of redstone. Maybe I'll just throw it in here for now, because there's not much in there. Let's get rid of the tripwire hook and the trap chest. That should probably go in redstone. Contraption chest. Minecart that I stole from my nether. I don't need any stone at the moment. And the hopper. Just throw a hopper in here for now. Holy potions. Oh, potions. Anyway, automatic brewing stands potentially in the future. Well, you can kind of already do it now, actually. And again, Seth Bling had something shown using minecarts. I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna build too much stuff with the new stuff, I don't think, right off the bat, because I know like the work in progress, the hopper is being changed. Like, it's still work in progress, obviously, because it's called work in progress, but I don't want to build something just to have like new features added that would have made the build so much easier or break the build entirely. So I gotta get rid of these potions. Oh, where's my ender pearls? Must have ender pearls always, forever. And anyway, the goal will be to have basically probably a double chest or even just a single chest full of potions that will automatically restock themselves. So anytime you take a potion out of the inventory, it will refill it and brew some more to replace the missing stock. So that will be the idea. So essentially you could take a double chest or a single chest worth of potions out of this thing, leave, well, maybe not here obviously because there's probably not enough room unless we totally get rid of this. Leave, come back, and then it would already have filled itself back up. So yeah, that is the goal there in the future. So that is definitely a project we can look at. In terms of my unloaded chunk, it's pretty much obsolete, I do believe. So, oh yeah, clicking. So the thing I've noticed with clicking, it's usually when you go too fast. So if I try to click on this bottle and I'm like moving my mouse across it, it doesn't actually always pick it up. You actually have to be kind of resting on the thing and give it a second to pick up the item before you move around. So I think that is a lot of issues I've been having, at least, is I think I pick something up, but I actually don't because I've gone across it too fast. So it's not registering that click fast enough to pick up any items. Okay, this is all stuff from the machine that I want to put back. Torches, probably get rid of those. And I can probably empty out these potions as well. I don't know if we'll go... we might go to the nether, actually. We'll go check out the blaze farm and see how that is. And we can look at the ridiculous wiring I have under there that most likely doesn't work either. Okay, another brick, half slabs away! Back down. Oh, repeaters. Repeaters. So yeah, today we're just going to run around my world, see what's broken, and maybe try to fix it. And we could talk about stuff that we could do with all the new cool stuff. But I'll probably have to go in the nether and collect a ton of that quartz if we're going to get a block that we can make out of it to purify the village. But that's pretty cool. Maybe we'll just redo the whole library and that marble stuff. Or the quartz block. Yeah, now that I just finished it, might as well tear it down and redo it. But yeah, item separation, mob system. So we'll try to work at a new mob system and a new item separation system that doesn't even revolve around sending items to an unloaded chunk. We could just have it all collect down in the basement, or we could have it all, we could check out, see if this thing still works. We could have items just being sent up here and then sorted into these chests, so that would be pretty cool. We could have gunpowder, whatever, bones, flesh, etc. all separated into a nice chest system. And we can kind of trickle it down using hoppers and chests. I got to work on a kind of a method that looks good. So, for instance, so far, things I've noticed with the hopper block, like a very basic system would be something like that. Oops. Something like that. So any items in this chest would go down to the bottom chest. However, this hopper is only selecting this half of the chest. So the right side of the chest, I believe, is like this side. Yeah, so you see that cobble went out, but that bed didn't. And nothing over here will go out because the hopper's not on this side of the chest. So that's kind of like the one single chest, and this is the other. Okay, sorry about that. My Fraps, well, I ran out of hard drive. So Fraps stopped recording and I didn't notice. So anyway, we were looking at that, and I was saying each hopper kind of looks at like each half of a double chest. So if we were to do something like that, we'd have to have a hopper both on this side, and then we'd have basically a dead spot in the middle. So that might not look all that good. And after that, I just mentioned we could do other things, like put the hopper on the back of one of these so it connects. And then we could just have a chest on top, and we could just leave it like that, so you could still get access to both chests. Where truthfully, you don't even need access to the back chest, I guess, because everything would just trickle down to the bottom chest. So in terms of getting access to your stuff, you'd have access to this chest, and then we could have additional storage that's not even visible behind the wall. So we could have the same thing just going at a diagonal, or we could go for a diagonal a bit. I should probably just make some more of these. We could have another hopper. Let's see here. Let's use cobble as a hopper, so we could have another hopper there, and put another chest here. And we could just keep going at a diagonal forever, or we could put the next hopper there, and then the next chest above that one, and we could just go vertically up and store everything that way. So yeah, that's something we could do, or we could even do, let's see here, we could put a chest, could we do this? I guess we can't, we could do that. Have another hopper right next to this one that's pointing into this hopper. And that will feed all items into this chest. And then we could keep doing that at an angle too, which would provide a bit more space. So we could have another 2 hoppers here and here with the double chest. And that would give us a bit more storage. And still maintain our kind of 1 wide design. Or we could probably modify it to take up kind of a 2 wide block, since each of these is technically 2 wide. So all we would have here is a single chest at the bottom or something like that. But anyway, stuff we can look at. But yeah, I'll probably wait till the hopper is actually done. Although, yeah, people like JL and Seth Bling, and I'm sure many, many more, have already done some pretty cool stuff with it already. So pretty cool. So yeah, I looked at this, and I actually got it working. So let's show you what I did. So I got a repeater. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this pulse here. We're going to extend it here. We're going to add a bit of a delay. I think 2 I had to add one more tick. The first try didn't work, so let's see if that does. So anyway, this repeater is going to send power into this block, which will power that redstone signal down below, which will power that piston. So every time a block is put there, yeah. So let's try putting that back down one and see how that goes. Yeah, so that still gets a quick one tick pulse and causes that sticky piston to act basically like a T flip-flop. So it's just leaving that glass block behind. But anyway, this machine is very slow now, so I don't really like it. So if I take this coal, oops, I forgot to change it back, didn't I? Silly me. Whoop. There we go. And now I got to break the glass again. Ah, pro. Alright, so yeah. If you haven't seen this thing in action before, I used to stand here and I just look at the glass block and I hold down the mouse button and it just loads the ores in, but it used to be a lot faster. This is pretty pathetic, actually. I mean, you're better off just placing it yourself than doing that. But anyway, I was working on a different design that I was going to use on the MineLogic server before I left that, and it relied more on taking advantage of that one tick pulse to do that rapid extension. Oops, and I forgot to put the glass block there. So why don't we go in my creative world and we'll take a look at that one and see how that one works compared to this one. If it's still functional, it may be, because we're actually, yeah, taking advantage of that quick pulse. This piston is actually above you instead of below you, so we don't actually need a glass block. The piston can actually push the block directly. The problem with this is if I didn't have this glass block and that piston was one higher, it would just lock itself up anytime I put a block there, because it would like basically self-power itself and just stay powered. So yeah, let's go to my creative world. Alright, here we are. A lot of random crap in this world. I'm not going to show you around. It's all a secret. But anyway, here's the old ore packager. Kind of maybe a better wired version. I don't know. Let's see if I can fix this one too, I guess. Diamonds. So this one will probably do the same thing. It does. So we won't worry about it. But anyway. This is the new one of the new versions. I have a couple mock-ups, and I haven't looked at these in a while, so let's see which ones actually work. I don't think it's this one, because this one's down below. Basically using the obsidian just to stop it premature, to give it basically pretending like the machine is full, like it can't push any further. But I think this is the one that I liked. There we go. Used to do it in 4 minutes and 10 seconds, 9 stacks. So basically your full hotbar full, you could just sit there and cycle through them. And it would take about 4 minutes. So I'm guessing the other one took about 5 minutes, because I do remember it being one faster. So this is the new machine. It has a wall of pistons again, except it has this piston up above that pushes them all the way across and then down, instead of pushing them up 4 times and then over. So it's kind of the same thing, but slightly different. That piston right there is a bud, as well as that one. So when the line gets to the end of that, it will fire off redstone and cause the top row pistons to push down. And then when this guy gets activated, it does nothing. I'll have to check. It's supposed to push the whole wall out. Obviously, yeah, that one works. So let me take a look at this one. I guess I could keep you. Where are we? So this is power locked, basically. Oh, I don't think it's getting... oh no, there's a bunch of redstone on the ground too. That could be why it doesn't work. Maybe I spilt water. So, whoop. Is that right? This should be... okay, what do we got here? Yeah, that might be all that's missing. Or I had broken it previously. This looks like it needs something as well. Or is it getting powered there? Does that go up there? No, it's blocked. Let's see here. Let's see here. I don't know about the length of this thing. Let's just do that and see what happens. I don't feel like counting. Anyway, this is kind of a similar thing that's used in MC Last Username's light detectors. Just a single one instead of a line of them. It's just a single piston that will push these 2 blocks here. So yeah, it pushes these two blocks to this spot, and when it gets here, it powers this, or the block gets powered from the torch, which powers this, which turns this off, which deactivates that same piston. And then the timing's set in such a manner that this piston will push everything back to reset it. It sounded like all these things fired, and this block is forward. So yeah, you can see how fast that is. It's a 1-tick pulse, and it goes off pretty quick. So let's take a look at that in action. So yeah, that's a little bit faster than the other one. That's even faster than it used to be, I'm pretty sure. So I think this will be our new ore packager 2.0 or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty fast, I think. That was pretty much as fast as I could place them. That never used to be that fast. That is awesome. Well, I can show you real quick how it works. It's fairly straightforward. This is just a, what do you call it, smart piston, I guess. Every time a block is placed here, this redstone piston will send power into it and power that redstone dust there, which powers that block, which fires that piston. So it'll fire as quickly as it can, and that as well, I do believe, generates a 1-tick pulse, if I'm not mistaken. Let's test that theory out. If I put a sticky piston there, it shouldn't actually keep the block. Yeah. So even though that's sticky, it's still pushing the block, I think. Can't even tell it's pushing a block. But anyway, so yeah, that generates the 1-tick pulse just through there, through the piston itself. And then, and I think this line here, I don't know if it's still needed. This line used to unpower this thing as it could lock itself up when it got to the end of the line here. If this row of pistons didn't fire down quick enough, this piston would try to push but couldn't push, so it would just kind of lock itself in a powered state, but the block wouldn't actually be pushed, so the machine would freeze up. So that's what this does. It just depowers that for a second, or not really a second, a moment of time that is undetermined at this point. So long enough that this will turn off so that this thing will try to fire again as soon as this area is clear, basically. As soon as these guys get pushed down, this will turn off and turn back on so this guy can give itself another go. And these are all, this is basically a big bud wall. Yeah. So there's no repeaters, there's no torches. Or there's, I mean, you can see some torches, but there's no torches for the actual wall, I don't think. So the initial power comes from this guy. So power is sent to this repeater when this block gets pushed. We won't worry about this guy. This guy's pretty straightforward. He's the same deal. We got that piston down here. So behind this one, you got two pistons. So when this bud gets activated, it will fire like that and send these two blocks over this. And this pushes the whole thing back, which also fires this line of pistons. And I used another piston here to create another 1-tick pulse. So everything in here is pretty much like a 1-tick pulse for all the pistons firing. So that's why we get that fast speed. So I might make a tutorial for this later after I build in my world. I'll try to pretty it up a bit, like this is messy. But anyway, power's through here. So this again is just a 1-tick pulse generator. I could probably do this differently now. I could probably use a comparator. Those things are pretty cool. If we have time, we'll talk about those this episode as well. But anyway, yeah, this will generate a 1-tick pulse. So that sends a 1-tick pulse through this whole redstone line. It will also send it up here all the way to the top row. And this is kind of, yeah, this basically is a bud. This guy gets powered and actually fires these pistons, the top row. The next row of pistons that's below this row. So behind this block here, these guys all the way across are getting, they're getting, well, actually they're getting directly powered as well. So these guys get powered by the block. These guys here are the ones that are budded. So these guys aren't directly powered, they're powered diagonally by this guy. But they update instantly from the other guys firing, so they basically fire instantly as well. And then the bottom row is just powered by this row. So you have that powered, these guys budded, but instantly fire. And then you got the next row powered, and then these guys powered as well. So they all get yeah, they all fire instantly. There's no like torch delay to get this signal all the way up to fire these or anything like that. All these torches are just for the bud detection. All these guys. So that guy, this guy is just part of that manual reset I said. So yeah, when this signal gets sent up, this is to fire the top row of pistons to push everything down. So that's when this guy gets updated or gets a block next to it. So that sends a signal that sends that signal that resets this piston, that pushes it all back. It turns that off, which allows that guy to depower. So you can see this flashing off. So that yeah, depowers. That's not the right word, but anyway. And this guy pushes it back, and this guy's still extended at the time that this gets repowered. So this guy tries to push, but he can't. So he just stays like this, powered, and now he's in kind of block update mode. So gets updated, and he realizes that, hey, I'm powered. I'm going to try to push again, and it does that. So the other part of that signal goes up here, and it splits off. So that creates the one tick pulse again for that row, and then that was just to reset that line. I'm interested to see if we actually still need that. Let's give it a go. We might. Oh, I guess that was actually powering that. Hang on. Okay, we need power, but we we might not need it to be changed. Let's just put the torch there. So that will stay on all the time. And we could just spam, and let's see if it locks up. Yeah, there we go. So it is still needed. So now this guy is powered. Power is being sent through that block, and that redstone dust is on, which is powering that block. So this piston is actually powered, but he's not actually trying to push, even though he's capable. There's room, but he's forgotten. He's Alzheimer guy, doesn't remember that he can push, so he's just waiting to be told. So that's all this torch does, is provide that reset each time that line goes. So yeah, I already talked about that, so we'll leave that be. All right, cool. Well, I might work on that pretty soon then, get that going, because we want to do that diamond draw thing. I'll have to go get some diamonds first. Talking about diamonds, there is a glitch. Oops. There's a duplication glitch in the current snapshot. So the 13W01B. I saw it on Seth Bling's channel. I don't know if any more other people have it, but it involves the work in progress hopper and some other stuff. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to do it. I have no need to duplicate things, and I'm not the kind of guy that would. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing any duplication glitches or anything like that. I mean, I have plenty of resources on this single player anyway. So, but yeah, I am aware of it. Not going to use it. But anyway, let's head back to the single player worlds. You're getting replaced. The Q.O.P. Sorry, that was probably loud. Quick Ore Packager. Named by myself, but anybody wants to come up with a new name for the new one, other than just Q.O.P 2.0? Q.O.P? I don't even know that's how you'd say it. Q.O.P. There's no W, but I'm talking as if there is. Let me out. Alright, the comparator. Let's make our first comparator. We need some redstone, which we have. Yeah, the comparator does a lot more things than I thought it did. The more notable one, well, you can make a pretty tiny, like, T flip-flop with it, which is pretty cool. What am I doing? We need the quartz. Let's make a few of them, I guess. Let's make 5. We need some torches, and we need some stone, I do believe. I think it's stone. So it's built, if you don't already know, built pretty similar to a repeater, sort of. So a repeater, you have a slab at the bottom. What did I say? We'll make 3. No, 5. Whee! So yeah, repeaters like that, with redstone dust. This guy is like that, but with another torch on the top. So it kind of representation of what it actually looks like. There's 3 torches on it, so you got 3 torches on it, and then you got the quartz. Although really, I don't know why it's not just nether, or it's not just redstone, but that is that. So let's make 5 of those. Also wondering if this guy's going to change. Currently it's just stone and like a chest. But I didn't even think anything of it. But I mean, it does look like the... Is it like this? Yeah. So I don't know if this is going to change so it's iron, because I mean the block itself does look like it should be made of iron. It's the same color as the cauldrons and the anvil, and those are all irons, so it's probably not the final recipe. So I'm not going to go ahead and like make a whole bunch of them just in case it does change to iron. If it changes to iron, that's fine by me. I'm not going to try to exploit the cheap recipe at this point, at least not here. Maybe somewhere else? No, kidding. I don't have any resources on the Olympus server anyway. I'm not going to be duplicating anything there either, and I hope nobody else will. I don't think that's fun, personally, especially if you're on a server too. If you want to do it in your own like single-player world, that's cool, but if you're going to do cheating in a multiplayer environment, that's, I don't know. You suck, basically, is what I'm saying. You suck. That's only my opinion. You may not very well suck. Okay, so we got a comparator. These things do some pretty snazzy stuff. Yeah, I did not know this. I did not know this was going to be part of it. I learned about it in like Doc M's video where he's playing around with jail guys showing stuff. But comparators, if you put them up against a chest like this, they actually will give off a redstone signal depending on the container. Now, so I don't really have that much stuff in here. And I can't remember if you have to power it or if it has to be in the subtract mode. I might not have enough items in here either. Let's try with a hopper instead, since it has a smaller inventory. And we'll just connect it to the ground. And then what if we put that in there? Yeah, okay, so you don't have to do anything. So it will give off a redstone signal based on how many items are in there, I guess. So a hopper has 5 slots, and I have less than a slot in here, so it's giving off 1 redstone signal. If I could throw in some more things like enter pearls, oh, that increased all the way up to 4. That's interesting. Is it based on items or slots? That's 3. And that's a full 5 with just 2. Oh yeah, I guess, what am I doing? I'm thinking 5 slots, 5 redstone signals. Of course, that's not right. You're all like laughing at me. Sorry. Full 15 blocks of redstone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's full 15. So yeah. Moo moo. So let's see that. That's going to count as a full slot for that. So that should go 1/5 of 15, which is 3 blocks. You do it again, it will go 6, etc., till you fill the machine. So that's basically a detection system to figure out how much stuff is in a inventory. That works with these guys, that works with chests, that works with, what else does it work with? Basically anything that can hold an inventory. Dispensers, obviously. The trap chest, I do believe it works as well. And I don't know what else we got that holds an inventory. Oh, brewing stands, of course, because you can do automatic brewing with it. And furnaces, I do believe it works as well. And I think that's about it. I think I did play around. Oh, ender chests, it does not work. I did test that. Tested out a bunch of them in my test world, which we could look at right now. All right, here's a different test world I started just for this guy, Seth Bling. Here's his little T flip-flop. But yeah, go check out his channel. Like, it's basically this. These 6 blocks right here. You got to input into this redstone signal there. And yeah, you can see all those guys going up. I just was playing around with something. But anyway, I was copying a bunch of stuff from his world, his video to play around with it myself. This was another one I saw that's really cool. Basically a button. Oh, that's another thing comparators can be used for. So you can actually have a button like flush with the ground in a wall, right? This is the wall. The button could be 2 blocks up and off the ground. Before, you'd have to have the button like here in order for it to work properly, even if you wanted to like push a piston down, I think. Because this is basically butting that piston, but the other thing a comparator does, if you point it at it like that, it will actually continually update that piston. So that the button buds it, and this thing updates it and it fires, so that's really awesome. Here's a mess of redstone. This is what I was looking at. All the things that could possibly give off a redstone signal when there are items in it. This does not work. This does not work. This does not work. That does work. That works. Nope. Nope. Yes. No. So those are all the blocks that will actually change if you throw items in it. So yeah, dispenser. Well, maybe I don't have enough in there. Probably not. Let's throw that in there. There we go. Goes off one signal. And enchantment, it doesn't actually hold an inventory. Basically, if you have to put something in there and if you leave it, it falls out. It does not hold an inventory. So enchantment tables, crafting tables, negatory, furnace does. And each slot, I believe, accounts for 5 redstone signal. So you just have to follow the one directly in line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the strength of that guy. Throw in another one. 10. So that's cool. So you could also do automatic smelting and stuff with the hopper. I think you do have to be wary of the order that things get added in, because I think it will just put them in a certain order. It doesn't necessarily put the coal in the right spot, I don't believe, but maybe that is wrong, and maybe that will change. Oh, I was just figuring out how far the signal goes based on the inventory. Basically, it's just whatever the inventory capacity is, divide that by 15, and that will give you kind of how many items per redstone signal. What else was I playing around with? Oh, the leaf block. Ah! So I found out something with this guy, right? So I was trying to do this in my single player world, but I didn't really do a very good test on it. So let's finish the episode with this. Oops, this isn't going to work. Let me out. All right, so I set up this basic test. All right, all this lights are doing is showing kind of the time of day. So it'll decrease as the day decreases. But I also have, I don't know if this is probably due because of the fact I blocked it up. But anyway, I have where is it? I have a daylight sensor that's currently resetting the time to, here it is. This is currently constantly resetting the time to 6,000 anytime the time gets to 8,000. So it should reset. It should, although I don't think it did. Maybe the weather's messing it up. Let's go weather clear, because this should be full-fledged. Yeah, okay, that kind of messed it. Okay, there we go. Full weather, and this will just change it. That'll pulse that redstone signal anytime this redstone signal decreases past that point. So it's just constantly resetting it to midday, basically. And that was just so I had consistency when I was testing this. So I'm just going to cover all this up so that no light can get to the light detector. So I noticed a couple things while doing this. Yeah, the light detector changes with the time of day, but it also changes with the type of daylight that it's getting. So if you bring up your F3, you know, the block light level, right now mine's saying 13, 14, because I got this lamp right next to me. But if we look at this guy, we look at the SL value, sunlight, it's at a level of 9. So that's being decreased by this leaf block. If I get rid of that, sunlight right now at me is 14, but on top of this thing it's actually 15, because it's going 15, and then coming towards me it'll be 14. So yeah, depending on where I move this thing, so if I do that again, we've got a sunlight of, I guess, is it 9 or am I at 10? Let me just do that. I'm at sunlight 9. Oh yeah, because it's consistent, because I'm right below exactly where this would be. So sunlight 9 is what this thing's getting. So if we go outside, block that back up, this thing will be at a sunlight level of 9. So that's kind of the two factors. Now, as far as I know, that sunlight value does not change. Let me just see something. Maybe it does. Does that sunlight change when it becomes like night? Set time night. Yep. I always do that wrong. Time set night. Is our sunlight value? No, it does not change. So if I go even further, let's go into midnight. Is that midnight? Yeah, our sunlight value is still 15. So it's not really sunlight, it's more like light level of or access to the sky. How many direct line of sight to the sky you are at. And leaf blocks will diffuse that value. So if I move these up, for instance, and set it back to day, that will change as well. Oops. What is that set at? Okay, it's still getting a sunlight level of 3. Is that... I don't think it should be. It's bloody nighttime, but... That's interesting. Why are you getting light? Weird. I wonder if that's... We're getting a sunlight value of 5 in here. And what was it at? I wonder if that's overriding sunlight 4. I wonder if that's normal? Like, it doesn't go down till exactly midnight? Because it should be 4. I think. Unless it's the block above it. 4. Okay. No, yeah. That's weird. Now, what if I break that block? Sorry, I'm just playing around. Interesting. Very interesting. I didn't notice that before. So look at that. So if it has a direct line of sight with the sky, it will change based on the time of day. If it doesn't, if you diffuse that light with a leaf block or another transparent block that diffuses the light, and by diffuse I mean I can't just put a glass block there. That should react the same as the sky. And this thing should be off. It is off. Same thing goes for, say, a piston that does let light level through, but it doesn't diffuse it. A leaf block, however, does diffuse it. So what I mean by that is when the light level hits this, it's 15. When it gets into there, it's actually at 14. And then 13, 12. So wherever it hits the block, it basically keeps that light level above it. And then it starts going down by 1, 2. So it almost like turns the leaf block into a light source, sort of, in terms of how far the light will go. So that is interesting. If you diffuse that light, even though it's nighttime, yeah, I didn't test this out. Even though it's nighttime, it's actually going based off that SL value instead of the actual time of day. So you can use that in 2 ways, I guess. That is interesting. Although that would just basically be... I don't know what you could do with that, mind you. Because that'll be SL4 no matter what time of day it is, even if I put it back to... Is it time set? Times C at 6,000? Is that like daytime? Yeah. Oh, it went up by 1. That's interesting. It went up by 1. Anyway, I'll leave that. Oh, yeah, here's some stuff playing around. Not important. Not important. Other thing I want to take advantage of, Seth Bling, is InstaWire. He had one with the comparator that was basically InstaWire, but it doesn't work anymore in B. It worked in A. But he has this one that works instantly, which I can't really demonstrate with my setup. But anyway, what this does is as soon as I flick this switch, everything is activated instantly. There's no delay. So I might use that for my beacon signal to get to all the beacons because they're quite far away. And just so there's no delay, not that it really matters if we have a delay, but we might use this kind of design. But yeah, if you want to see this, go check out Seth Bling's video. I'll probably put it in the description since a lot of the stuff I've shown here I learned from him. Anyway, let's leave it there, guys. I think the episode's getting long enough, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.